Good morning, students. In the last class, we did till page 112. So we have to start from page 113. So please open to page 113 of your book, Echoes. We were doing this story, the sound machine. So just a brief revision of what happened. So Klausner wanted to know from the doctor. The tree came down. The tree fell, and and Klausner wanted to know from the doctor what did he hear? What sound? What type of sound did he hear in those earphones, which were fixed on his head, right? Because Klausner wanted to be sure that whether doctor is also able to hear the same sound, whether Dr. Prescott is also able to hear a similar sound like him or not. So what you can make out about Klausner from these lines, like he was not bothered about himself, right? When the tree came down, when the tree fell, he marginally escaped that accident, but still he was not interested in all these things. He was more interested, he was more bothered, he was not bothered about himself, he was more concerned about the sound. He was more concerned about the sound which was heard by the doctor, right? The only thing which he wanted to know at that moment was when the tree was hit with that axe, what was when the blow was on the tree, on the trunk of the tree, when he landed a blow on the trunk of the tree, what did the doctor actually hear? This is what Klausner, this is the only thing which Klausner wants to know at this moment, at this point of time. What did it sound like? Klausner leaned forward slightly, staring hard at the doctor. Exactly, what did it sound like? So Klausner said, please tell me, what did it sound like? What was the exact sound which you actually heard? Please try and recollect and let me know. Oh, hell, the doctor said. I really don't know. I was more interested in getting out of the way. Let's leave it. The doctor was not so much interested in the sound. He said, to hell with your sound. Oh, hell, I don't know what sound I heard. I was not interested at that moment. I was more interested in saving my life from the tree which was coming down. So I don't know anything about the sound. I don't know what I heard, what I didn't hear. I'm not able to recollect anything about it. Dr. Scott, what did it sound like? But Klausner was adamant. He wanted to know what was the sound which was heard by the doctor. So he said to Dr. Scott, what did it sound like? For God's sake, how could I tell? What with half the tree falling on me and having to run for my life, how can I tell, how can you even think of it that I'll be able to tell you what sound I heard when the tree was coming upon me and I was like running to save my life? The doctor certainly seemed nervous, but the way Klausner was talking to the doctor, only interested in knowing about the sound which was heard by the doctor now started feeling nervous. So, and Klausner was like kind of getting more and more impatient because he was continuously asking. So, another theme of the story, which is obsession, Klausner's obsession about something, that is brought to light in these lines. Right? He was so obsessed with his machine, he was so obsessed with the sound which was heard by him, he was so obsessed to know about the sound which was heard by the doctor. The only thing which he can heard, which he can think about, is the sound. So his obsession with that sound, that is also one of the major themes of this story. So if you're writing an answer related to the themes of the story, these lines will be very useful, right? You can quote these examples. God's sake, so this is done. Having to run for my life. The doctor certainly seemed nervous. Now the doctor was becoming nervous. Klausner has sensed, and Klausner was able to sense that nervousness of the doctor. He stood quite still, staring at the doctor. So he stood there still without any movement, and he was looking at the doctor. And for fully half a minute, he didn't. And he was just standing there and looking at the doctor attentively for half a minute. And he didn't utter anything. The doctor moved his feet, shrugged his shoulders. Shrugging means this, right? He shrugged his shoulders and half turned to go. And then he turned to go. Well, he said, we'd better get back. So the doctor was also standing there. Klausner was standing there staring at the doctor. Then the doctor just shrugged his shoulders and he said, come on, let's go. Let's go from this place. It's better for us to leave this place and go back home. Look, said the little man. And now his smooth white face became suddenly suffused with color. So the little man, who's the little man here? Klausner. So Klausner said, look. And what happened? All of a sudden, his smooth white face was suffused. Suffused means spread over, right? Suffused with color. So there was, you can see color on his white face. Means he said, you stitch this up. And so what did he say? He said, he asked the doctor to stitch what? To stitch the wound of those two injuries which were made on the trunk of the tree by Klausner. He asked the doctor to stitch them up. He pointed to the last gash that the axe had made in the tree trunk. You stitch this up. So he asked the doctor to stitch it up quickly. Please stitch this up. Right? Stitch this wound quickly. Don't be silly. And now the doctor was not able to understand. So he said, don't be silly. Right? You're not making sense, Klausner. You're talking like a crazy man. You do as I say. Stitch it up. So, but Klausner was not willing to listen to any of the excuses of the doctor. He said, no, you just do what I say. You just obey whatever I'm telling you. You just stitch it up. Klausner was gripping the axe handle and he spoke softly, in a curious, almost a threat. And because he was holding an axe, right? That axe, he was holding to it tightly. He was holding it tightly in his, and he was holding the handle of the axe tightly in his hand. And the stone was a rather threatening one, right? He was trying to threaten the doctor. You do as I say. If I'm asking you to stitch it up, you will have to stitch it up. Don't be silly, the doctor said. I can't stitch through wood. Come on, let's get back. So the doctor was, you can say, a bit frightened, and he said, you please behave in a sensible manner. You please make some sense. I really cannot stitch through wood. It's not possible for me to stitch through wood. Come on, let's go back. So you can't stitch through wood. So you can't stitch through wood. No, of course not. The doctor said, no, of course it's not possible to stitch through. Have you got any iodine in your bag? What if I have? So he said that, have you got any iodine? Is there some iodine in your bag? If you cannot stitch it, please apply some iodine, right? So he said, what if I have? Okay, now if just imagine that I have iodine in my bag, then paint the cut with iodine. It will sting, but that can't be helped. So what does this show about Klausner? That he is a very sensitive man. The moment he realized that the trees and the plants, they are shrieking, the moment he was shocked, though he did that experiment, right? While doing his experiment, during the course of his experiment, he injured the tree. But now he is able to understand the pain of the tree, and he wants the wound of the tree to be healed. He wants the tree to be okay now, right? So this shows that he is a sensitive man and he feels the pain of the plants and the trees also. So he says that, please, this line, it will sting, but that can't be helped. So he said, okay, fine, you cannot stitch through wood, fine, no problem. Then please, because you have iodine in your bag, so you please take out that iodine and paint this wound with iodine, right? I know it will sting. Still sting means it will pain, but it cannot be helped. The tree will have to bear the pain. Now look, the doctor said. And again he turned as if to go. So the doctor said, now you look. Now you listen to me. Right? So again he turned to go. Let's not be ridiculous. Please talk in a sensible manner. Please don't talk foolish things. Let's get back to the house and then. So he was about to complete his sentence. He said, let's go to the house and then. But he was interrupted by Klausner. And what did Klausner say? Paint the cut with iodine. So there was a very serious expression on Klausner's face. He was very serious about what he was saying. He just wanted the doctor to paint the cut with iodine. He was not saying these things in a lighter tone or in a very funny manner. Right? He was very serious about it. So the doctor hesitated. He said he saw Klausner's hands tightening on the handle of the axe. So the doctor hesitated because now he could see that his hands were tightening upon the axe and he was like scared for his life. If he refused to follow the instructions of Klausner, maybe Klausner hits him with the axe. He decided that his only alternative was to run away fast, and he certainly wasn't going to do that. So he thought for a second and he realized that the only other option which is left with the doctor was to run away from the place as fast as he could. So, but he was kind of sure that he's not going to run away. So he decided to obey the instructions of Klausner. What does this show about the doctor? That he was a very, you can say, a good friend and a confidant of Klausner, right? He was like someone in which Klausner could confide. Right? He was concerned about Klausner also. Though Klausner was not making sense at the moment, but still he decided. But still, the doctor decided to listen to what Klausner wants and to do whatever Klausner wants. Doesn't matter how stupid that act may be, right? So just to please him, he did. So these are the signs of a good friend. So Dr. Scott, you can say, was a good friend of Klausner. All right, he said, I'll paint it. So the doctor agreed to paint the wound with iodine. He got his black bag, which was lying on the grass about 10 yards away, opened it and took out a bottle of iodine and some cotton. So he took out some cotton and a bottle of iodine. He went up to the tree trunk, uncorked the bottle. Uncorked means remove the cork of the bottle, remove the cap of the bottle. Dipped some of the iodine onto the cotton wool, bent down and began to dab it on the cut. Began to dab it means he lavishly applied the iodine with the help of that cotton wool upon the cut, on the catch which was made upon the tree. He kept one eye on Klausner, who was standing, and with one eye he was looking at Klausner, motionless with his axe in his hand, watching. And Klausner was holding the axe and watching the doctor, whatever he was doing. Make sure you get it right. And so he said, he even told the doctor, make sure that you apply that iodine properly. It should go inside that wound so that it is healed properly. Yes, the doctor said, yes, I'll definitely do it. Down to the other one, the one just above it. So because, there were two cuts on the tree. One was made by Klausner alone when he was alone, when he came in the early morning to the park, and the second one was made when he was accompanied by the doctor. So there were two cuts. So now Klausner asked the doctor to apply some iodine on the other cut also, the one above it. The doctor did as he was told. So the doctor followed the instructions of Klausner. There you are, he said. It's done. So he said, yes, I have done it properly. He straightened up and surveyed his work in a very serious manner. That should do nicely. So now he surveyed, he just inspected his work and said that now it's like done nicely. Right? I've applied iodine really nicely and it should heal. Klausner came closer and gravely examined. Gravely examined means very seriously. So Klausner approached the tree and very seriously he examined both the wounds. That is the two wounds. Yes, he said, nodding his huge head slowly. So he moved his head up and down and he said, yes, your job is done in a perfect manner. Yes, that will do nicely. He stepped back a pace. You will come and look at them again. So then he moved back and then he said to the doctor that now you're supposed to come again tomorrow and examine these wounds. Oh yes, the doctor said, of course. So the doctor said, yes, of course I'll come tomorrow. And put some more iodine if necessary. Yes. So he said, yes, I'll come again and then I'll apply some more iodine on them if it is necessary. Thank you, doctor, Klausner said. And he nodded his head again. What does this show about the doctor? That the doctor is very tactful, because though he objected in the beginning to what Klausner was asking him to do, but when he tried to understand what Klausner was going through, what he was feeling, right? So he actually sensed Klausner's feeling, and then he listened to what Klausner said and performed his task accordingly, right? He obeyed whatever Klausner asked him to do. What does this show? This shows that Scott is also a very sensitive and a very tactful person also, because he knows how to behave in a particular situation. The moment he realized that Klausner is very serious about what he's saying, about what he wants the doctor to do, then he dealt with that situation in a very tactful manner, in a very cooperative manner, and he was also a very, you can say he was also a very compassionate man. These are the character traits of the doctor which are highlighted through this conversation between the doctor and Klausner. Thank you, doctor, Klausner said, and he nodded his head again, and he dropped the axe, and all at once he smiled, a wild, excited smile. And quickly the doctor went over to him, and gently he took him by the arm, and he said, come, you must go. So now he was happy. Now Klausner became happy, and now there was a smile on his face. And now, because he was sure that the wounds of the tree will heal and the tree will be okay again, so will be well again. And so, after the application of that iodine on the tree, he was relaxed and he smiled. So the doctor went to him and he gently took up his took him by his arm and said to him, "Come, we must go now." And suddenly they were walking away, two of them walking silently, rather hurriedly across the park, over the road, back to the house. And then both of them returned to the house. So this is the end of the story. Right? Thank you.